Hello and welcome to my Southern Exposure. I'm Joseph Manuel Vello, your host in beautiful Fort Lauderdale, Florida. First thing off, I want to say thank you to the 3.120 Club. That's 3,120 viewers from last week's show. So I hope we're going to have a lot more viewers next week, and I think you're all going to enjoy what we have planned for today. It's going to be 2 hours of a lot of really good topics and a lot of great guests. And we also have some silent watchers as well who might ask some questions. You never know what's going to happen. So we'll see what's going to happen. I'm going to go ahead and say hello to my best friend, Rajee Narinesingh, the beautiful Rajee Narinesingh, to say hello also as well. It's over to you, Rajee.
Hello, everyone. Hi, I'm back. So it's good to be back, and it's so good to hear that the numbers are going up. So that means that people are watching. We have a really juicy show for you this week. I'm excited. I have something I'd like to talk about in regards to the transgender community. So we'll get to that. Yeah, and now I'm going to toss it over to Mickey.
Thanks for that, Raji. It's good to see you both. I hope everyone's doing well with everything that's going on throughout the country, whether it's the protests that have been going on regarding police brutality and mass incarceration, COVID, and then even it's hard to remember that we are also in the middle of an election year. So there's a lot to think about, a lot going on. I hope everyone is taking their time to be a civic minded and doing their duties and raising awareness and getting out there and doing and supporting what you believe is right. But that everyone's also taking time to themselves and making sure that you're getting enough rest, you're getting enough water, and that you're also educating yourself on what's going on. Because there is, as I said, there's a lot going on right now, and it can be hard to keep up. It can be overwhelming. So hope everyone is taking much needed time for themselves as well. I'm going to toss that back over to you now, though, Joseph.
All right, I'm going to have to give out the email addresses because both of you forgot one of the most important parts, and so did I. In order to get a hold of Mick, that little guy with the headphones on, similarly to me, out in Los Angeles, California, EIA, you can go ahead and email him. It's MICK at mysouthernexposure.site. That's Mick at mysouthernexposure.site. I'm working on a little technical difficulty with Raj's email, but I will figure it out. It will work, and she will have a gigantic queue of emails, I'm certain. To get a hold of Rajee, that beautiful raven mistress down there in the back in that corner, it's Rajee at mysouthernexposure.site. That's RAJEE at mysouthernexposure.site. And to get a hold of me, if you want to, you can. It's Joseph at mysouthernexposure.site. I just wanted to definitely make certain that everyone knows how to get a hold of everybody. And I want to welcome both of you back to the show again, Mick and Rajee. And thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us once again. And I can't wait to hear both of your views about all the topics that we're going to be talking about today. So I want to give a little recap, or I should say, give all the viewers at home an idea of what we're going to be talking about today. It's pretty juicy. It's quite interesting. All the topics are. So, social media. That's a whole show by itself, but you know how I am. I like to mix things up. Social media, technology, those are the two topics, the main topics. And then we also have a brand new segment section that I thought would be interesting for all the viewers at home. We're going to be having 5-minute segments for each of us, one for me, one for Mick, and one for Rajee. And we might have a surprise person thrown in at the last minute. You never know if the person's going to show up on the first time around. So, but we'll see. So Rajee is going to bring you up to date with the trans update. Mick is going to be talking music and all of those fabulous things that he knows about out there in Los Angeles, California. And I'm going to be the numbers guy like I always am and give you the real numbers, at least the ones that I can confirm and verify. And then I'm going to give you a little suggestion or an idea of what I think is going to happen with this. This is not going to be something that goes away. There's going to be a lot of changes from educational to fundamental and employment, as well as political, that it's going to be continuing to affect for a long time. So pretty much that's the show. We got a lot to go over. The first thing we got to do now is have a little break. So I got to tell you about WeGo LLC. WeGo LLC is a local option owned and operates in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, that services the Wilton Manors, Middle Terrace, and Oakland Park area as well. You can pre-plan your trip or transportation, make your life easier. If you need a ride to work, or if you need your shopping done, they can do it for you. They even offer laundry services. They will pick up your dirty laundry. I apologize. Sometimes that happens when you have a live show. You might get an interruption and then you got to shut it off. So anyways, it sounds like a little fiesta, right? Anyways, they will pick up your dirty laundry and they will wash it, dry it, and return it. So no matter what it is that you need done, they will take care of it for you. They're located right in Fort Lauderdale, Middle River Terrace area. If you do need a ride to or from work or to or from any doctor's appointments, all of the drivers will be wearing masks as well as facial shields, in addition to washing down, I should say, sanitizing the car after every customer. Visit www.wegolllc.app to learn more. If you plan 24 hours in advance, it's best because rides are only subject to availability. If you don't book ahead of time, you might not be able to go where you need to and when you need to. Cat Rio cuts. If you like this haircut, it might not look so fancy right now, but it looked really good last week. Cat Rio Cuts provides a custom haircut that will suit your individual personality. You'll never have to worry about looking like anyone else ever again. You can stand out from everybody. Cat Rio will come to you 7 days a week. If you live in the Fort Lauderdale or Wilton Manors area, you got to text her. Her number is 954-984-4040. That's 954-984-4040. Or you can visit her at catriocuts.com. That's K-A-T Rio, K-U-T-S.com. La Madame Supermarket is a great option that's local. If you are living in the area close to where I do a lot of my shopping there all the time. My partner and I go there. We pick up our items that we need to put into our juice extractor that we make every single day. Their address is 1548 Northeast 4th Avenue in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. That's 1548 Northeast 4th Avenue in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Their phone number is 954-314-7489. You should check them out for yourselves. You don't have to trust me in my judgment or my suggestion, but it's a great way to support a locally owned small business. The next time you go out to do some grocery shopping, go ahead and help a local business. And if you don't have one in your neighborhood, you should try to look out for one. I'm sure there's probably some people out there who would love to be able to take care of their families just like you are trying to do as well. And also, can't pass it up, Minuteman Press. They're the ones who do all of my printing. They print off my business cards, my flyers, they create my ads, they do everything for me. So they are right here, and they are here to help your business grow. For all of your printing needs, make sure to call them. Their number is 954-731-5300. That's 954-731-5300. They're located right here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, just south of Wilton Drive. So now that that's out of the way, I'm curious to hear from both of you. Who wants to go first, and which one do you want to talk about first? You want to talk about social media? Do you want to talk about technology? You know me, I got tons of paperwork and numbers and data. So, but I'm going to give you guys a couple seconds to see who wants to go first. So how about you, Rajee?
Yeah, sure. I'll go first. I have a lot of juicy things to always share. Anyway, this week I want to talk about something that happened on Friday. And actually, the Trump administration revoked transgender health protection. That was the headline. And when I saw it, I thought, okay, is this true? Because one of the first things you hear Trump supporters say is, well, it's fake news, or the media embellishes things where it's not really the way it sounds. And so, I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt, and I didn't jump the gun, but I did start to hear a buzz in the LGBTQ community about it. I saw it on a number of different media outlets. So, it's true. It's true. And what it actually means, I'm going to read this because I want to get it like exact and correct. Hold on. Okay, so Section 1557 is the law that protects or prohibits discrimination in healthcare based on race, color, national origin, sex, age, or disability. Okay. And in 2016, gender identity was added to that. It was under, Obama's administration. And so we were added, we were added under the protection. So what happened on Friday is we were taken out of the protection. We're now off of it. So, you know, I posted about it on my social media, and there were different comments, and most of it was, oh well, did you ever think Trump was going to support, the LGBTQ community and all of that? And that was no news to me. But what I found interesting is the standpoint they're taking is, when it comes to Trump, because he's a businessman, not a politician. That's another thing I hear all the time, is the financial aspect of it. Okay. And one of the comments on my post was, well, it's because of the gender reassignment surgeries being so much. Okay. So I thought, okay, wow, you know, gender reassignment surgery is something that for a lot of us, not all of us, but a lot of us, is something that's necessary to deal with transgenderism and our gender dysmorphia. That the American psychiatric, whatever you want to call it, we're in the books basically, and it states that we have gender dysphoria. Okay, so if it's a diagnosed condition, right, and it's falling under this particular status, don't we have rights to treat it? Treat it in the sense that, our gender dysphoria can be alleviated by doing certain things to our body to make us feel like more like hand in glove, like the outside matching the inside. And so, I thought, okay, well, so when women have breast, like let's say mastectomies, and they're getting, implants to correct the mastectomy and have breasts again. Well, does that really qualify? Is that something, because you can really, I could break things down and look at other people, and, and even where it says discrimination, I'm sorry, just against discrimination of people with disabilities. Okay. So if you can't have it both ways, people, you can't have it both ways. And that's what they're trying to do. We're considered to have gender dysphoria, which would then, what we'd be considered to have somewhat of a disability. So you want to treat me like I'm crazy, but then you don't want to support me. Like, in other words, you're giving me a diagnosis. You're saying that I have gender dysphoria, and dysphoria is considered a mental disability. So if we're disabled, then why would we be protected under this section 1557? Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing is with this topic, Rajee, is that this is social media, and it's also part of your trans update as well. We could talk about this topic for probably 2 hours just by itself. I mean, seriously. And it's frightening and it's scary. And you and I discussed this a couple of days ago when this information first started coming out, and it's horrifying that we have to deal with this topic at all on top of everything else that's going on right now. It's just horrible timing, horrible thing, should not be done. And I just don't, I don't even know how to look at it in a positive way, but there's a lot more to say about it. But I do want to mention, so that people understand at home, that social media, there are over 247 million, just in the United States, social media watchers, followers. So I'm not going to single out all of the different big, gigantic corporation names, because I don't want to give them a plug of any way, shape, or form, even though we are utilizing some of those as well. But you're talking about basically two main driving forces for social media, and then you have 7 additional under that. But the fact of the matter is that there are a lot of people that are on social media, and part of your following, Rajee, is very supportive of you, which is a blessing, obviously. And we need to shine a light on that and focus on that clearly. And what happened over the weekend, and it didn't just happen this weekend. It actually started several months ago, and over the last year, over this current administration, that these rights have been slowly being stripped from us, and people haven't really noticed it because there's other topics that came up. And Mick is wiping his forehead. He looks like he's ready to talk. So I just want to pass it over to Mick really quickly. And I didn't want to cut you off, Rajee, but I know we're going to continue on with this topic. But I want to get Mick's perspective on social media in general, and then we can come back to it. And then obviously we can discuss the whole transgender rights that are being stripped away a little bit later also as well.
Well, thanks for that, Joseph. And with regards to social media, I guess the way that I sort of see it is, obviously it is not going anywhere. We've had a lot of talks about, I mean, I would say probably the last decade was people coming to terms with the fact that it really isn't going anywhere. And the fact that it isn't going anywhere, and if anything, it's a very strong organizing tool. It is a primary way that a lot of people do get their news, which you can look at that however you want to, depending on who you follow. But I think that that also plays a large part into having good news judgment, but for what you follow on social media. Because you can follow any sort of account and get really used to what they're posting, get really complacent with hearing what they have to say and following what they say. And it's important to do your research and know what it is that the people that you're following, what they are sharing with you, what they are choosing to support and to share with their followers. I think that in the coming years, the way that we talk about news judgment and the concept of news judgment is something that is going to have to be extended to social media so that people can learn, okay, this person might have a lot of followers and I see them a lot on Twitter, but am I seeing them for the right reasons? Are they always trending for the right reasons? Overall, I think social media is a hugely important tool. It was instrumental in the Arab Spring at the beginning of the 2010s and played a huge part in allowing so many countries and so many different peoples to organize and to basically like declare their own independence from governments that were repressing their rights and taking advantage of them. And social media is a great way to expose a lot of that, because a lot of times corporate media is not going to expose things for you. And as I said before, we already know about news judgment, but I think in the coming years, news judgment regarding social media is going to be just as important, if not more so, because it seems to be more and more that people don't necessarily turn to a specific outlet for their news. They turn to figures and organizations that they feel that they can trust and maybe even interact with on a certain level. But that's my 2 cents on social media, if anyone wanted to kind of chime in on that. Or I know, Rajee, you had said that you have been saying some stuff before, if you wanted to continue from there as well.
Well, I mean, the bottom line is you don't know what to believe today. You're hearing, news reports and everything all on social media. It's just so convoluted. It's so confusing. It's hard to really know what's true. What I was saying in regards to Trump and that move on Friday is that basically, what are you saying to me as a trans person in our community? What are you saying? Are you saying, like, what is the message? And strategically, it's interesting when these things come down the pipe because wasn't Friday the Pulse anniversary? I think it's the four-year or 3-year anniversary of Pulse, and this happens to be Pride Month. So I'm looking at all these things, and then next week he postponed it a day, but he was supposed to go to Tulsa, okay, on Juneteenth. So all these moves that I believe are strategically saying to a community, "Fuck you," and
Hmm.
to be blunt, okay, fuck you, because I'm a human being, and damn it, we finally got some rights and protected under this section 1557, and what now you're taking it away from us? Come on. What is that all
Clearly,
about? And I
clearly,
can use many different examples. When you look at um, healthcare and what is needed in particular situations, depending on what the person is going through. But like, how can you say like, okay, well, this is too expensive for these trans people? They're not worth it, really. That's basically the message. But okay, we're still going to do this for other people. It just, and that argument, believe me, you will hear it. Anyone that's like going to come up against me or anyone else that's speaking out against this move on Friday or this action that the president took on Friday will come with that. That's going to be one of their arguments. But, what are you really saying? What are you saying to us trans people? I mean, it's
what
hard enough. Listen, I'm a girl that's been around the block. Okay, I've been around the block. So I'm of a certain age, and so I remember the days when you couldn't get, as a trans person, you could hardly get health care. So, like, it's almost like we did some strides, we made some strides, in the trans human rights movement, but then now we're taking steps back. And it's really disappointing as a transgender
it,
American, it
it,
really is. And so I'm just going to close with this. I'm not going to talk about this anymore tonight. I just want to say, with this administration, what okay, there are trans people that I know that are supporting Trump. Okay, and it's all coming from the standpoint of him being a businessman and him knowing what to do in regards to, like, I guess, the economy and money. But as a president, like, don't you want a president that invokes like unity and like makes all communities feel like they're at least recognized and important. So on that note, I'm going to just close on that topic. But because I don't want to make this about a transgender show because it's not. But I this week I just chose to talk about this particular topic, and so anyway, I'm done.
oh no, you're not, sweetheart. No, you're not. You got a lot more to talk about because I'm pulling up some research also as well. I thought we would be talking about that topic a little bit later in the show, but I do want to bring up some numbers for both of you because I think it's important to see these. Out of just so that you're aware, white people, 71% of them view or go to social media on the same platform, and it's 77% on the exact same social platform. Hispanic Americans, 78% as well. The breakdown of the actual age groups, 91, 90, 93, 87, 70. So from 18 to 64, basically everyone in that age range is on that one platform, pretty much about the same. It doesn't make a difference if you're urban, suburban, or rural. It doesn't make a difference if you have a high school diploma or a college degree, or you do have a college or don't have a college degree. If you finish college, if you didn't finish it, or if you finished your high school, it doesn't make no difference. So, and those same numbers go through all 9 of the top social media platforms. So I think it's really important to understand that social media is definitely a driving force now. And just like you, Rajee, and Mick, and myself, as well as the people who become rich and famous on social media, they can quickly be taken down within the wrong tweet or the wrong message or the wrong photo or anything like that. So that's the only justice that I can see to say about that part, Rajee. And I think it's horribly insulting, and I'm sure Mick will agree with me in that regard, that this is even happening at all. If someone ever treated you like that in person in front of me, I definitely would do something to get your back. And I'm sure that Mick would do the exact same. We won't settle for it, and you don't need to settle for it either as well. You deserve better than that, just like Mick does and just like I do. No one out there should have to deal with any kind of misogynistic or anything like that to make someone feel bad about dystopia and all these different terms and everything else. So, but I do want to, yeah.
Oh, I was just
Go ahead.
saying, speaking of misogyny, okay, it's really interesting that America, the land of the free, cannot bring themselves to vote for a woman president. If you look around the world, there's so many countries that's already done that. They did that. They've done that. Germany, England, Liberia, India, Pakistan, Jamaica, Trinidad. These, and the list goes on and on. Countries that have already had women presidents, and for some reason in this country, we cannot bring ourselves to that. And in regards to the media, with these smear campaigns, if you're running for president, best believe there's going to be people online that's going to put crap out there that's not true, but a good percentage of the population will believe it because it's on the internet. Just because it's on the internet. So I don't know. A friend of mine said to me, well, if Condoleezza ran, oh, she'd win in a minute. If Oprah ran, oh, she'd win in a minute. And in my mind, I was thinking, yeah, right. These people are celebrated. The minute they threw their hats in the ring for presidency, you'd see all the ape comments online. You'd see all the different negative smear campaigns that would start coming out against these people, because of their race, because of who they are. So anyway.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, the fact is that it's sad and it's not correct, and it's very one-sided, and it's part of the whole Black Lives Matter movement. And I can't wait. I don't want any of us to stop that movement going forward, and I don't want any of us to forget about COVID, and I don't want anyone to forget about trans rights also as well, because Black trans lives matter as well, not just straight, heterosexual, Christian, whatever lives. All of our lives matter. So it's very important to Mick and me both. And you can chime in a second, Mick. I'm going to actually bring up the next topic, technology. So technology is something that we all are using right now. Sometimes it works properly, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes our microphones work, sometimes they don't. I just want to give you a little bit of quick history about technology. The technology and industrial history of the United States describes the United States' emergence as one of the most technologically advanced nations in the world. The availability of land and literate labor, the absence of landed aristocracy, the prestige of entrepreneurship, the diversity of climate, and a large, easily accessed, upscale, and literate free market all contribute to America's industrialization. So there's a lot of technology going on. I have a little snippet to share about G5. I want to see what Mick has to say, what he thinks about technology And Rajee, you can follow up after him. Over to you, Mick.
Thanks for that, Joseph. So I guess just as a general overview of the topic, I think technology is obviously something that sets the human race apart from other organisms on this planet. We're not the only organisms that use tools. Certain organisms do use tools to, like, to get food or to mate. Um, but we utilize technology for all sorts of things, whether it's a Zoom call like this, uh, sending emails, mass producing t-shirts with smiley faces on them. Like, there's all sorts of things that you can use technology for. But just because there's so many things that you can do with technology doesn't mean that all technology is necessarily great. For one thing, there has been a long standing argument over the ethics of facial recognition technology. And in fact, out here in California, there was recently a motion to, I'm kind of, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm kind of blanking on it, but it was a motion it was proposed out here that banks and certain insurance agencies could utilize facial recognition technology in their determination of whether or not you received coverage or a loan, which in many ways is just very dystopian to think about, to think that just by having your face scanned by some scanner and sent through some third party that's filtered back to your bank to determine whether or not you deserve a loan for your house or whether or not you qualify for health insurance for contracting COVID or whatever it happens to be. So, I mean, I think the overall question, like, talk about technology is a little bit overarching. And I mean, obviously kind of tough to sort of tackle in a 2-hour time slot, but I think right now, a lot of what we are, I guess, a lot of the things that we are discussing right now have to do with technology, whether it's finding a vaccine for COVID, whether it is reducing the amount of lethal technology that the police forces possess, whether it's highly militarized weapons that they have to quell uprisings. I mean, even in the election, there's the whole discussion of whether or not certain types of voting are quote unquote legit, whether or not absentee ballots are considered to be more fraudulent than standard computer tests. But we found that really the overarching problem is that the government is not good at keeping our election systems in place. They're not good if you look at Atlanta, people were waiting hours to go vote in Atlanta. And that's not just some innocent mistake on the state's part. The state actively wants to discourage people from voting. Because public sentiment is very against the government right now, because the government is not doing what it's been enacted to do to serve the interests of the people. It's not doing that. But I wanted to throw it over to Rajee because, again, technology is very, very overarching, and I kind of wanted to see what you thought of the topic at hand. Rajee.
So, okay, thanks, Mick. You know, we certainly have come from the caves to the computer age. Like, we as human beings, when you look at our evolution, it's just amazing how we've gone from the caves to the computers. And I would say within the last like 100 or so years, we as human beings have gone warp speed. There's something about these last, I mean, compared to how old the planet is and how long we've been on the planet, something about the last 100 or so years, uh, I don't know what it may be, but we've gone warp speed with our technology. We've gone to the, we're flying. We've gone to the moon. Computers were developed. Even medicines that we have now. So I will say this: the technology, like with everything else, there's good and bad aspects to it. I mean, religion is supposed to be good, but you have people using religion to do bad things. You know what I mean? So I think in everything there's good and bad, and so that doesn't exclude technology. But overall, I think the technology has enabled us human beings to live bigger lives compared to our ancestors. When I say bigger lives, I mean we can do things now that our ancestors couldn't do. I mean, think about it. Like you can go online and talk to someone all the way over in Australia. You're in America and they're in Australia. Whereas maybe my great grandfather had to write a letter that took like 2 months to get to Australia. I mean, so it's just so much that comes with this technology. And I think that that's where this whole thing of right and wrong and monitoring that, because as human beings, one of the things that have been our saving grace, I feel, is a moral compass, like having a moral compass. So with anything, that allows you to do anything, you want to have that, and I hate to use this word, but policing or monitoring of it to keep it in line. Like you don't want to get too crazy with it and have like the bad outweigh the good. So but I love the technology. I mean, I think even for trans people, by the way, like 100 years ago, I would have never been able to do what I've done to my outside, if it wasn't for technology to help me feel more complete, so as a trans person. So yeah, I personally think it's a great thing, and I think it's allowed us as human beings to live some extraordinary lives, and be able to do things that many people before us couldn't do. So anyway, that's my take. I guess back to who are we, Joseph? We're throwing it to Joseph.
All right, Raji, thank you so much for that. And thank you as well, Mick. I do want to bring up a topic, and I might sound a little kooky by bringing it up, but I really don't care. So 5G. So the question that's out there floating around is 5G something that is safe, or is it pushing the envelope too far? Because there are non and positive rays that go through everybody's body. And we're getting close to the point of where the rays that are being beamed across all of us, just to make my cell phone work, just to make your cell phone work, just to make this laptop work, are getting to be dangerous. And there are many studies out there as well. So some people, I tend to agree with most of them about this topic, that the 5G that's being launched and pushed upon us is a little bit too far. And that's the reason why I brought up this topic, because it's something of concern for me, and actually Raj, understand, because you get over to the center before, that little tower right where the kids play underneath over at the Pride Center off of Dixie Highway. There's a probably 50-foot tall tower with so many things on that, it looks frightening. And they built a beautiful elder care, I should say, not assisted living, but basically people that are retired, they can move in there. And it's supposed to help our community. So my concern is those people who move in there and those kids that are playing underneath in that playground might be subject to the following: nausea, hair loss, swelling, low energy, appetite loss, bone marrow damage, depression, organ damage, confusion, incapacitation, and death, as well as infections, just from being close to a G5 tower.
Is that those are side effects that people are saying that one can get from 5G?
Those are some of the side effects from 5G. And this is the reason why I brought up this topic, Mick, is that it's very important to me.
No, for sure.
The reason why it's important to me is that no one knows for certain what the long-term effects are going to be for 5G. And I understand, Rajee, and I understand, Mick, we all want to have our laptop, our cell phone, our desktop, our computer, our monitor at home, and every other device working properly and as quickly as possible. And it went from 40 milliseconds, 0.40 milliseconds, now it's 0.1 millisecond. So think about it, it's almost similar to being microwave. It's about 2 or 3 branches over that it's the similar thing to being in a microwave as you're driving by, as you're sitting in your apartment.
I personally, I think, and a lot of what I've heard about 5G has been espoused by, quite frankly, conspiracy theorists. I know that, like, for one thing, the main reason I've been hearing a lot about 5G in the news recently is because people think that COVID is caused by 5G, which, I mean, that's not true at all. But the thing is that people buy into that stuff the same way that they buy into the fact, or buy into the belief that things like vaccines cause autism, which is also not true. But people hear about these things, again, on social media and stuff of that nature, and they start to worry about, oh, if I'm hearing about this online and enough people believe in it, well, then it must be true. And it's like, the thing is that there are millions of people on the internet who still think the earth is flat. So my regards to 5G is, I mean, if you look at a chart of where 5G falls, 5G falls somewhere between cell phones and microwaves, which obviously we know that microwaves aren't necessarily great for us. But if you look further down on, I mean, I just did a Google search right now, but visible light has a higher type of radiation than 5G. It's higher on that level, and is, if anything, is even closer to ultraviolet and then X-rays and gamma rays, which are obviously way more radioactive and way more likely to cause cancer. And obviously, as we know, sunlight can cause cancer. That goes without saying. And there may be some adverse health effects from 5G, but I think that right now, a lot of the concerns that are behind it are either fear-mongering, conspiracy theories, or just people looking to just make a big deal out of nothing. Because, I mean, I would assume that if there was a large, well, I would like to think that if there was a large-scale health crisis with 5G, people would be concerned about that because everyone's using it. Like, it's not like 5G is just a technology that just like the middle and lower class people are using. Like, if anything, people in higher positions will use 5G because it's the fastest right now. And if they're exposing themselves to it, like, you would think that that would be something that would be addressed a little bit more. So this is just me. There may be some adverse health effects of 5G, but I don't know that they're being addressed in quite the right way, and I think a lot of it has been sensationalized. But I'll let Rajee go from here because I obviously introduced a different side to that.
No, thank you, Mick, for the information. Because honestly, I didn't really know much about it, and I haven't done much research on it. But I did see some of the videos, talking about how, all the health issues and how it's going to be detrimental to the human race. And it's interesting with these videos that you said something, conspiracy theories. If you look at a lot of those videos, they all have like this certain sound and look to it. I don't know if it's just me, but like all the videos I saw on it, I was like, right away, conspiracy theory. Like, this is not, when I saw the videos, I was like, oh, this is not really as bad as they're making it out to be. And just the way they edited things and stuff, you can, well, for me, I can kind of look into that and see, okay, wait a minute. Like, really, you took it from this angle, or whatever the case may be. So I do think a lot of it is, that whole thing of wanting to create fear within the population, and also the conspiracy theories thing. The conspiracy theorists, alt, what is the word I'm looking for? Mode of operation. Like that's their thing, to find stuff to make people, oh my God, fearful and skeptical, and all those sort of things. So um, I would say, like anything, and based on what Mick said, where it was between the level of cell phone and microwave, okay, yeah, maybe it will be a little detrimental to us, but how? You go out to the store and you buy spinach, and that's supposed to be good for you, but some people have died from it because of I forgot what the spinach carries, but what I'm saying is, like, I don't think it's that crucial. I really don't. I think they're hyping it up.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, just going off of kind of what Rajee said, like, really, I'm like you. I have some understanding of 5G, and I've obviously heard of it, but a lot of what I've heard has been a lot of like tinfoil conspiracy theorists saying that 5G causes cancer. And a lot of that just has to go back to fundamentally where would we be most exposed to 5G? It would be through our cellular phones. And I'm looking at an article right now on The Verge, and they link back to three different studies, one by the Food and Drug Administration, one by the National Cancer Institute, and the one by the American Cancer Society. And all of them have come to a similar conclusion that while cell phones give off a little bit of radiation, it doesn't necessarily pose a huge threat to humans. Because again, we're exposed to different types of radiation and types of energy when we step outside and you walk in the sun. And obviously we're told to be careful in the sun and whatnot, but we're not told that we can't go outside just because it might cause cancer. I mean, I guess maybe for some person, if you maybe use your cell phone all the time and you constantly have it to your ear, that might do something to you. But I think that right now, a lot of the concerns over 5G are over sensationalized and, quite frankly, harmful to the other questions that we might actually want to have about it, where we're like, all right, now we have this super fast data system. What's next for us? And how do we regulate something like that? But I'll throw it back to Joseph, because I know Rajee and I have been talking, unless you had something to add, Rajee.
No, I don't.
Cool. All right, Joseph,
No,
then it's all you.
and thank you so much, Mick, and thank you so much, Rajee. I do differ with both of you on this topic for several reasons, and it's not kooky conspiracy theorist stuff. I know a lot of things you can't get code, but there are several doctors that have even as far back as 1977. This isn't something that's new. This isn't something that no one has ever not heard of before. Biochemical studies conducted in humans and animals revealed that millimeter waves, which is what I was talking about earlier, Mick and Rajee, cause changes in the body manifested in the structural alterations in the skin and internal organs. Qualitative and quantitative changes of the blood and bone marrow composition and changes of the conditioned reflex activity, tissue respiration, activity of enzymes participating in the process of tissue respiration and nucleic metabolism. So that's a doctor, I can't even say the name, she's from Russia, it was from 1977, but there are several doctors who've all done studies, and I'm not discounting what you said, Mick, and I'm not skirting under the table what you acknowledge also, Rajee. All I'm suggesting is that, is it possible that 5G is being pushed on us and we're only supposed to look at the good? because they're going to make a lot of money. And think about it, Mick, and think about it, Rajee. How often do you have your cell phone with you? Do you have a tablet? Do you have an iPhone? I mean, you have a cell phone, a laptop, you got a desktop. To level that goes through buildings. Doesn't matter if you're outside or inside. So it's just something that I wanted to bring up a topic for technology. And I want to toss it back to both of you too to see what you guys say about that before we take our next little break. And then we go on to special little segments that we have set aside.
So, yeah, it's funny. I remember when microwaves came out, it's all this thing about, oh no, they're gonna, it's gonna give us cancer and like don't use the microwave. But I think probably what 90% of the population uses them now. Who knows what the microwave food is doing to us? And if it's doing something, it's a long-term thing, because I've been microwaving a lot of my food for years, so if it is doing something to me, it's long term. Well, I guess I'll find that out in the future. But yeah, it's just interesting how that is. And I see somewhat of your point. I know when, in the world that we live in, a lot of it boils down to money. And if it's going to be a money maker, and what you were saying, Joseph, about them encouraging people to look at it from a positive light because of the money that it's going to make. So I get you, and I think it's something maybe we should kind of look at. But again, like going out in the sun, I remember years ago people would bake in the sun, okay? And my mom was one of those people. She would, oh my God, and with baby oil too. She would go out and put baby oil all over her body and bake in the sun for a nice tan. So, but that shit went out the window. Like when people started getting, the skin cancer and stuff, then, people realized, oh, you have to protect yourself when you go out. But to what Mickey said, people don't stop going out. And we know that the sun can be detrimental to us and even cause cancer. So I think it's a balancing act. But that's all I'm going to say on that. I'll throw it over to Mickey.
Yeah. I sort of still do think that a lot of the concerns that are being thrown around about 5G right now are not necessarily ones that are put forth in good faith. For one thing, 5G is an easy scapegoat for people to blame coronavirus on, because a lot of people have tried to tie in the fact that there are a number of 5G towers in China. And obviously the US has done everything in its power to blame the COVID outbreak on China, even though China did, from the best that we all know, the best that they could to quarantine and contain the virus. But as I said, I think that it's an easy thing for people to demonize something like 5G, which again is like our microwaves, which people use all the time. It's not that different from our cell phones, which people use all the time. And it's not as harmful as just standard sunlight. I think obviously maybe down the line, like in a few years, we could find out that there's maybe a difference in how it affects our bodies. But right now, I genuinely think that a lot of the concerns behind it and a lot of the worries that we have are founded in conspiracies and founded in people's fears about things that they just don't understand. But that's my take on 5G and why I think a lot of the issues behind it are malarkey, for lack of a better term. But I will throw it back to Joseph now, because I think we have another topic to jump on to.
Yes, we definitely do. But before we do that, I have to tell you about WeGo LLC. It is a local option and locally owned in Fort Lauderdale that services the Wilton Manors, Middle River Terrace, and Oakland Park areas as well. You can pre-plan your transportation and make your life easy. If you need a ride to or from work, if you need your grocery shopping done for you, they will do it for you, even if you got some dirty laundry, just like we all have. You can leave it out front, they'll pick it up, they'll wash it, they'll dry it, they'll fold it, they will return it to you. No touch, minimal contact options are available, and also drivers or delivery people will be wearing face masks and shields and sanitizing after each and every customer. Visit www.wegolollc.app. That's wegolollc.app to learn more. Plan your trip 24 hours in advance because services are subject to availability. I got to tell you about La Madame Supermarket, not supermarket, supermarket. It's perfect if you are living in the local area. Wilton Manors, Fort Lauderdale, Middle River Terrace. You can walk in. My partner and I shop there all the time to get all of our healthy juice extractor ingredients like ginger, turmeric, garlic, all of those things, cucumbers. We got great prices. Or 7489, but you should check them out yourself. You don't have to trust me. You can go there and look at it yourself if you live here right in our neighborhood, which most of you probably do that are listening tonight or tomorrow or next week. If you went there, you would be supporting a local grocery and help them help their families. That's La Madame Supermarket. If you need any printing done, I suggest Minuteman Press. They're the ones who do all my printing for me, whether it's a business card or a flyer or any kind of promotional piece, they do it for you. And it's their business to help your business grow. They're there for all of your printing needs. Make sure to call 954-731-5300. They're located in Fort Lauderdale, just south of Wilton Drive. I could not quite see what you had messaged me right as I was reading, Mick, but I saw something pop up there and I'm very confused, so I'm gonna have to look at it in a moment. But that's what happens when you do a live show. So maybe I said something wrong. So I want to introduce, or reintroduce, I should say, Rajee Narinesingh. This is your 5 minutes for your trans update, girl. Yes. No, we're not done yet. We are not done yet. That was the whole point. That was the whole point. Because you were talking and you are not done. You said it's not a trans show. It's not a trans show, but honey, we got a lot more to talk about, and I can see it in your eyes.
Oh, you can. Is that what you see in my eyes? Listen, let me tell you, this is what you call live TV. We have to adjust things, okay? But I don't know what more I can say. I think I pretty much, put it all out there. It's just something that our community, listen, the trans community for me has been at the bottom of the totem pole for so many years. Even within the LGBTQ community, trans has been like one of those things where a lot of the gay population and lesbian population didn't really want us to be a part of. We were considered like the outsiders. So, when you finally make some strides, like when you finally, and let me tell you, people can say whatever they want about Obama. They can say whatever they want. But one thing Obama did for the LGBTQ community is, and specifically for the trans community, is there was some movement in the direction of transgender equality under his presidency. He was the first president to nominate a transgender person and give them a position at the White House. Okay, so I think that says a lot, And so whenever I hear like people talking bad about President Obama, I just listen. People talk from their experience. And I can only speak from my experience. And under his presidency, I saw some good things happening for our community. So, things that would affect me as a transgender American. So, this thing of like, I don't know what it is. I don't want to make this too political, but I feel like I almost feel like Trump wants to do everything to kind of like, um, um, I, for lack of a better word, destroy what Obama did. Like, like it's like, these. I almost feel like we've taken 10 steps back with this move. With this, with what happened on Friday. I feel like we've taken a number of steps back. So I don't know. The bottom line is we trans people are human beings too, okay? And we're entitled to our basic human rights just like everyone else. So whether you agree with someone like me, whether you don't understand it, whether it's against your religious beliefs, whatever it is, the bottom line is we're human beings and we're entitled to our human rights just like anyone else. My injustice is a threat to anyone else's justice. So, that's the thing with that, and I just it's tiring. It's to the point where, I've been around the block. I'm an older trans woman, and I'm tired. I'm tired. I've fought a lot. I've been in the trenches, blood, sweat, and tears for over 20 years. Being the activist that I am, and like, I'm like, okay, what can I say? That's where I'm at. You want me to
Thank
do
you,
a dance for
Rajee.
you?
Over to no, 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 not at all. But I would love to see that. But over to you, Mick, because from what I understand, you have a music update and some great things to talk about. And after you're done, we're going to be talking with Alan Beck from Fun Travel Guides.
Yep.
Mick?
Yeah, thanks for that, Joseph. This is a little bit lighter than some of the other topics that we've been touching on. But yeah, just for a little background on myself, I live out here in Los Angeles. As you know, I work in music publicity. So music is a very, very important part of my life. And I do try to keep as on top of things as possible. And just to kind of give you guys a little bit of an update, I guess, on what is going on or what I've been thinking about in the music industry recently. For one thing, the main thing that I've done recently is I've deactivated my Spotify premium account. I had a Spotify premium account for many, many years, and I get why having one is helpful. You don't hear any ads. You have an unlimited amount of music at your disposal just by paying $9.99 a month. And there's a lot of great reasons to do that. The problem is that the way that the Spotify algorithm and pay system is set up, it's set up in a way that only the biggest artists, your Ariana Grandes, your Justin Biebers, your The Weeknds, yeah. Well, and like even then, it's like it depends on, you have to be a massive, massive artist to make any money on Spotify. So if you aren't a massive artist, you're not going to make any money through Spotify. And so I strongly suggest that if you care about artists getting paid and getting what they are entitled to as artists, because they are not only providing you with entertainment, they're providing you with catharsis, they're oftentimes educating you on their lives and issues that are pertinent to them. I suggest divesting away from Spotify and go to your local library to find new music. Use your iTunes library that I know is collecting dust right now. Support a local record store. Try to put more money in artists' pockets because they need it right now, because they can't tour right now. Which brings me into my next point. If you guys are familiar with bandcamp.com, it's all one word, but it's called bandcamp.com. It's a great website where artists literally post their projects, whether it's singles, EPs, albums, and the funds that come from Bandcamp to artists are more direct to those artists. And specifically for the first Friday of every month, which they started doing this year. All proceeds from Bandcamp go directly to an artist. So if you were to go on Bandcamp and support, let me give an example. If you are familiar with the bassist Thundercat, if you bought his album, It Is What It Is, on Friday, July 3rd, this next coming month, all of that money will go directly to him. It won't go to Bandcamp. It won't go to anyone else. It will go directly to him, which next brings me into my next point. But a few artists that you can support on Bandcamp Day, starting July 3rd. I'm just going to make sure I still have enough time so that I don't go over. But the first artist I want to support, I've been following this artist for many, many years. His name is Shamir Bailey. He just came back with a new single called On My Own. It is a beautiful song, a welcome return to some of the pop roots that, if you're familiar with him, you've probably heard in some of his earlier projects. But the new song, I'm going to hold it up right here. Oh, well, it's backwards. I might have to try and rearrange my video. Oh, sorry. There was a little bit of confusion on there, but it's Shamir, On My Own. It's a fantastic song. It premiered through Rolling Stone, so you know it's legit. He's also really great because he is non-binary, but he does go by he, him pronouns, just as a heads up. But Shamir is fantastic. Support them on Bandcamp Day. Another artist that I would suggest supporting is Abra. Those of you who ever saw the movie Assassination Nation, she is one of the four main girls in it. She is a dark wave artist out of Atlanta. I saw her perform live back in 2015, and she opened for an act called Empress of, but she is a fantastic artist. It's very dark, synth wavy, kind of 80s Janet Jackson style music, mixed in with a lot more, I would argue, like, kind of like, it's a little bit hard to describe, but some hip hop influences, some R&B influences, but she's worked with everyone from Charlie XCX to, like I said, being in Assassination Nation. But her album from 2015, it's called Roses. You can get it on Bandcamp. It's fantastic. Would highly recommend it. It is a great listen. There are upbeat numbers, there are slower numbers, and it's fantastic. And then the final person I'm going to shill for is actually a client of ours. Or do I have a little bit of time left, Joseph? Or do you need me to? I still have time? All right, perfect, awesome. So the final person that I say that you should support for Bandcamp Friday is this composer by the name of Beverly Glenn Copeland. I apologize that this is all backwards. I think I might be able to mirror my screen. Oh, here we go. All right, yeah, I'll fix it for all of you. But so that's Shamir, On My Own, Abra Roses, and then Beverly Glenn Copeland. And I suggest buying their self-titled album on Bandcamp. It was their debut back in 1970. For those of you who are fans of Joni Mitchell, Joan Baez, really emotive singer-songwriter. He is a trans man living today who has just more recently gotten a lot more famous, or a lot more renowned, I should say. They had a decent following for a number of years, but really they exploded in popularity actually when a record collector in Japan came across a number of his records and happened to sell them out at his store, and then contacted Beverly saying, hey, we'd love to have more of your music. But it's very symphonic, it's very moving, it's very sweeping, and Beverly has a fantastic voice. I highly, highly recommend you check him out. But these are the three artists that I would recommend supporting on Bandcamp Friday coming up on July 3rd. That's Shamir's On My Own, which is his comeback single. There's Abra's Roses, which is her album from 2015. And then Beverly Glenn Copeland, this album by the album is also titled Beverly Glenn Copeland. I cannot recommend it enough. Full disclosure, we have also done some PR for them, but I'm very, very proud that we do support Beverly's art because he's a fantastic musician and it's great to see him getting his due. But that's all for me. Like I said, shop on Bandcamp on July 3rd. Make sure all of the funds go directly to artists. All of the artists that I just shared are Black artists, and some of them happen to be queer and trans. So I'm really trying to shine or shed some light and expose some of our listeners to artists that they might not be familiar with. But I know that I've gone over my time, so I'm going to throw it back to Joseph now, and we'll continue on from there. But thanks for letting me talk about that, Joseph.
You're welcome, Mick, and thank you so much, Mick, for sharing all of what you just did. And for all the listeners at home, you can contact Mick. It's Mick at MySouthernExposure.site. That's Mick at MySouthernExposure.site. So if you want to get in contact with him, you can. Carlita, I see you down there. You look absolutely beautiful. Just give me 1 second before I let all of our viewers at home or the people who will be listening to it later talk with you. First, I have to talk with Alan Beck, our regular sponsor on a weekly basis indefinitely here in Southern Florida, that has a lot to say, but he can't talk until he turns his microphone back on. It might take him a second to figure out where there it is. You got it, man. You got it, Alan. What do you have to say about Fun Travel Guides? What's new? What's happening? How was your week? We haven't talked to you for a week. What do you got to say, buddy?
Well, good evening, first of all. And second of all, what a beautiful shirt you have on tonight. Makes you look more handsome than ever.
Flattery will get you everywhere with me. That's the best way to get to my heart.
That's what I've been told. So I've had a great week, and our Fort Lauderdale Wilton Manors map or guide went to press. It's about a 2.5 week turnaround time, and we expect to have the map being delivered prior to July 4th, when a lot of people will be out there celebrating and having fun, and they'll be able to find wonderful places to go in and around Fort Lauderdale and Wilton Manors. So look for it in the over 100 locations that are distribution points locally. If anybody wants further information about that, I'm very available. My email is Alan, A-L-A-N, at funtravelguides.com. And I'd like to know what you think about our new guide once it's out. In addition to the new guide coming out, we are sending 100 bottles of champagne down to Costa Rica to help celebrate the gay marriage down there. And the first 100 couples that got married were promised bottles of champagne by Fun Travel Guides. So those will be leaving on Wednesday, going down to Costa Rica. I'd also like you to know that our website keeps expanding. There's over 35 cities that are up and running, including 2 of the 4 cities in Colombia, South America. So check out funtravelguides.com and watch our site as it continues to blossom. Speaking to our webmaster today, he assures me that more goodies are happening and coming along, including new videos, news, and events. So check your local area. If you don't see something that should be there, we would like to know about it, and we'll reward you. I haven't figured out what the reward will be yet, but I'm sure Joseph is going to help me figure that out. Money.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what anyone else wants.
I see you sitting there like, well,
money.
I'll tell you what. If let's, for the first 100 people that call in, they'll get $5 and a gift certificate, or they'll get $10 in a food credit at, if it's in and around Fort Lauderdale, they'll get $10 in a food credit at one of our favorite restaurants. Let me write that down so I remember it. $5 for a.
It's recorded, Alan. You don't have to worry about writing it down, Alan. It's recorded, and everyone will be seeing. Everyone will be watching and listening to it probably at least 3,000 times. By the way, just to let you know, Alan, you are now part of the 3.120 club.
Woohoo!
That's 3,120 people. So you're part of that club now. So everyone will hear it and see it.
Excellent. Thank you. And lastly, our app is blossoming. We just added Niagara on the Lake and Toronto to live operation. And if you have something happening in your city that you see coming soon, let me know about it, and we'll do our best to get that city up and running. And I want to just put in a correction for Rajee. She said something that was wrong, at least to me. She's not old.
Well, let me just say this. Thank you so much for that compliment. I might not look old, but I feel it.
Well,
Wait
till you get to be my age, and then you can start feeling young. So, what else?
That was really sweet of you to say. Yeah. You know, a few years ago, the average lifespan, just as a for some information for anyone that's watching, the average lifespan of a trans woman was 35 years old. So if you're basing it on that, I'm like 100 years old now.
I thought I was going to say 28.
I was thinking Forever 21. I was thinking Forever 21, like that clothing store, Forever 21. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Forever 21.
Yeah,
you are Forever 20. I think both you, Alan, I think you're Forever 21. Rajee, you're Forever 21. Mick, he hasn't even hit 21 yet. Probably. He said, what? He got a chuckle out of it. He said, what? He's definitely more than 21.
One other big thing, and this week, we'll be running ads in several of the major cities across the country, looking for entrepreneurial type individuals who are looking for sales positions with fun travel guides. As we continue to expand, we'd be very interested if you know somebody or if you're a good salesperson yourself. Our sale is in advertising, space sales, and digital sales in our internet products. And so knowledge of selling digital as well as print is certainly something that's welcomed, and we can train you from the ground up. And to get you back on time, Joseph, I'll relinquish some more things that I was going to say. I was going to tell you a favorite story, but we'll hold that till next week.
No. Don't make me seem like the bad parent. Don't make me seem like the bad dad who's going to be like the one in charge. Go ahead and share your story, but don't ramble.
Well,
go ahead and share your story.
Over the years, I've gotten many letters as publisher, and from people of all walks of life. And one day in came a letter from a penitentiary, which I felt was a little odd. And I opened it up and read it. and the inmate was there saying, "What a handsome man you are." And of course, he was looking at a picture of me about 20 years ago. And he said, "I take the fun map to bed with me every night and hold it to my heart."
Oh my goodness, Alan, first of all, you are still a handsome man. I bet that Rajee and Mick would both agree with me that you are still quite dashing.
Thank you.
And actually more than handsome, he's very charming.
Ooh, whoa. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I bet you could charm the pants off of anyone. I bet you could charm those pants off of anybody. But I'm pretty sure right now you probably already have a husband.
I've been known to do that, and it's always a pleasure to be on this show. And I look forward to many more episodes where we have fun with fun travel guides. Joseph, Rajee, and Mick, and beautiful Galaxy 58, Denise.
Oh, that's Carlita. She's my little special gift. She's my little special gift, Carlita. Carlita, are you there?
Carlita.
I am. How are you? Hi.
I am good. This is Carlita. She just so happens to be a friend of a friend, but she's my best friend now. She lives up in Cleveland, Ohio, and you can see how beautiful she looks. And she looks that way because she happens just to be the owner of a salon. So can you tell us what's going on up there in Cleveland, Ohio, Carlita, at your salon, and what's happening, honey?
We offer a large array of services. We massages, facials, pedicures, manicures, spray tanning, everything to create a sense of well-being. It's relaxation. It is, I want to take people and teach them how to love themselves all over again. So that's why I started about 38 years ago.
How is business going up there for you now, dealing with COVID and the restrictions, and what do you do there to make certain that people are safe?
We are open 7 days a week, and I have the front door open, even on cooler days. So we do not offer hair services, mostly I just want to be more of a spa. So we open the front door, the back door. All of us wear masks. We have the fan on above us, the one that sucks everything out of the air. So it is a filter, and it is through the state of Ohio that we have to have in a spa. So it kills the bacteria as it's going up through, and it spits it out. Absolutely.
No, it's hysterical the way that you said, the way that it sucks it up and spits it out. You're talking to Rajee and you're talking to Mick and you're talking to me. I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm happy this is a late night show.
Okay, I would never waste it. Let's just say that.
Oh my gosh, Rajee, do you have a question? Do you have a question for the beautiful Carlita?
I mean, I'll tell you, it sounds actually glorious. I mean, right about now,
You're sideways, Rajee. You're sideways.
I
don't know what you did, but you're sideways. It's okay. You can keep talking. There you go. Now you're perfect.
I was about to go like that.
But no, I was just going to say, everything sounds so wonderful, and right about now, I could use a spa day. Oh my God, especially a good massage. I tell you. So let me ask you, this has been your passion for like most of your life? This is the thing that you really love to do?
I absolutely love making people really truly see how important it is to pamper yourself and to just take care of self-love.
Yes, yes.
Well, obviously that's a
That's
good.
beautiful.
Obviously that's a good thing, Carlita. As we wait for Rajee to upright her photo, I'm sure Mick might have a question to ask if he opens up his microphone for the beautiful Carlita. Do you have any beauty questions you want to ask Carlita? What you can do at home while you're stuck there and try to be safe?
No, definitely. I mean, I'm just thinking this is actually just kind of a question that I have just from, I mean, I'm home now all the time, and I've noticed that my skin has gotten a lot flakier and a
Yes.
lot more, and a lot drier, which I wouldn't normally assume would happen, but I guess just being in like stagnant, the same air all the time. Is there like a technique that you use or like a type of product that you use for that type of thing, or something that maybe I should be doing, like maybe running a humidifier more, or what would you recommend?
So there's essential oils that you could use, but some of them have to have a carrier. Now, tea
Okay.
tree oil kills
Yeah.
bacteria. Tea tree oil is wonderful to use, like with coconut oil or grapeseed
Okay.
oil.
Hmm.
Grapeseed oil is actually an anti-aging oil, and it does not break you out. It cannot break you out. It's
Oh, I didn't
phenomenal
know
to
that.
use. Yeah, it's really good to use on the entire body. And you want to make sure that when you are using tea tree oil, keep it away from animals too, because it can harm them. It's very
Yeah.
powerful. Um, the other thing I love to do is I massage my body with, and the clients too as they come in, but I massage them with olive, avocado, grapeseed, and coconut.
Oh,
So different
wow.
essential oils we blend together, and then that's what I massage everybody with. The
Oh,
other
for
thing
sure.
is body scrubs are extremely important. You could mix your oil with coconut. Coconut's a really good cleansing oil.
Hmm.
So you could use coconut oil with baking soda. Make like a thick paste and scrub your face, your scalp, which mix it like within your
Hmm.
shampoo. And you could mix it and scrub your whole entire body. Baking soda not only clarifies, but it's like a beauty polisher for the teeth. And also internally, you could take a spoonful of baking soda with a glass of 8-ounce water, and it actually it kills, like it takes away acid reflux if you drink it on a daily basis.
Oh,
Same thing,
I
you could
didn't know
take
that.
you could take baking soda and sprinkle it in your wine if you drink wine, or in any cocktail, in your sauce, in your food in general, or you could just drink a glass of baking soda water, and it will take the acid reflux away.
Well, the more you know, really, the more you know. And
That's
obviously, like as you were saying before, with like using like baking soda and coconut oil, like with your shampoo or on your face. I'm assuming you would wash that stuff off. Is there anything that you would recommend, like maybe you keep on overnight, or you let it sink in? Or you would recommend probably washing all of these off and then using just like a different type of moisturizer?
It's really good to just massage your face with the baking soda and the coconut oil. And you could use a touch of oil if you've got any type of like bacteria or pimples or anything like that. And then you just rinse it off. And then always remember, hot and warm, they make you puffy. It makes you swell. But cold shrinks, right? So
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
always want to use the cooler or cold water to help the body.
Okay.
Us,
All right.
us men know that cold shrinks things, don't we, Mick?
Okay,
Yeah.
stop making that as an excuse.
I have another
Oh,
question. Um, I want to know what would you suggest? I've been getting like lower back pain, and I really need a massage, but like a lot of places aren't open up yet for that.
Yes.
What can we do at home to kind of relieve that? Like I've been trying to take like hot baths. I don't know if that
No,
No.
do the opposite. Cold shrinks, hot inflames. Look at the
God, but
football
you know
players.
But you know what? Hot baths feel so good. It's always that way.
That's true.
The
It'd be
other
hard
thing
to
is
give those up.
too, in the part of your foot for sciatica, it is the bottom part of your foot by your heel, but on the very bottom of your foot, that's your
Yeah.
sciatica. In the arch of your foot, that is your spine.
Oh,
So you
okay.
can step on a soup can and you can like roll on the soup can and it could actually take your back pain away.
Ooh,
Oh.
Stand up,
thank you.
stand on a hard ball and roll on it. And the best thing to do is wear a white pair of socks and go out to the park somewhere, find a gravel parking area and walk all around. There's your free reflexology.
Oh,
Okay, so you're saying that the just plain old simple gravel
Yes.
can help with back pain?
It can actually help because it is manipulating the spine, your liver, your lungs. It's all in the bottom of your feet, your hands, and your ears. So you want to make sure that you understand what reflexology is. It's a pressure point to your entire body, your organs, your liver, your everything. It's a cleanser when you're doing reflexology. It cleanses. Instead of getting the full body massage, some people are very embarrassed. Maybe they are overweight. Maybe they don't want to see the opposite sex, see them naked. The skinniest girls usually, and I'm not saying this, but almost always, the thinnest girls have the worst cellulite or the worst sagging skin. And they still think that they're fat laying on the table. It's terrible. So in that case, we have a lot of women that come in and we have the room dim. So women work on women and men work on men. That makes it the best way.
Out of curiosity, at your salon, what is your approach to the LGBTQ community? You and I have already discussed this. And
Yes.
that's part of the reason why I wanted to have you on the show tonight, because Rajee means very much to me, just like Mick does as well. And I
Yes,
want them to
yes.
know that they are around someone who is very sensitive and caring. And what happens at your salon with your LGBTQ?
So I work on a lot of coupons and discounts because I try to offer my treatments, even knowing I know I'm worth every penny and I could charge what I charge, because in the years before, I have worked a lot with a lot of very wealthy people and I got tired of the snootiness and the, how do I say, the constipated, stuck up, I'm not going to finish that sentence, but I don't agree with how people treat others. So when on my website, it says that I'm gay friendly, kid friendly, and dog friendly. So that being said, I work a lot with the gay community. I love my gay men. I love my lesbian girls. I love them because they respect each other. Even down to the women that come into my spa and they're gay. I don't have another woman looking up and down on me. When they're gay guys coming in, I don't see them looking at my men, other workers. But you find somebody that's attracted to the opposite sex, they walk in, and I'm uncomfortable for the woman because the guy checks me out. Or the guy says, I want her to massage me. Like, very disrespectful. I don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable. And I just like same sex, especially when we're working on each other's guests. And then I also have been told that many salons and spas, they do not allow same-sex massages and they frown upon them.
oh, really? Oh, okay. Wow.
I wasn't expecting that part there, Carlita. I wasn't expecting you to say that part.
Yeah, it's funny because I think that more people are open, like we're attached to Starbucks, right? So many of our Starbucks, they're gay friendly. A lot of them that work there are gay. So I think with Starbucks putting flags out all over, it's really opened the minds of some of the blind people in the world. And it's made people meet more relaxed, more inviting. I see more people walking up and down the streets holding hands. In the gay community, I see a lot more people being more themselves. They don't have to be hidden anymore. And they love who they're with. They're not afraid to show who and what they're about any longer.
Holy moly. I mean, I don't even know what to say, Rajee and Mick. I mean, I think both of them are pretty much flabbergasted. I already know that you're a wonderful person, Carlita. And Rajee's got a question. She's spinning back and forth. She's going. She's rocking. She's got a question.
Yes.
No, not a question. I just wanted to make a comment. I think it's beautiful that your core is coming from wanting to help people love themselves. I think, that's a wonderful mantra that you have. And, while we're here on the planet, this is our temple. So I think you're doing that. You're using your services to really help people embrace their body, their temples, and love themselves. So thank you so much for what you're doing in the world.
You are very welcome. And the majority of our clients, a lot of them, I work with a lot of trans. I met some beautiful souls through the years because some of them were maybe married and to the opposite sex and they weren't happy. And they finally can, with like different places being more open, I think it opens a lot of people's eyes and they could finally say, this is about me. It's my life. I'm here once only. I want to be happy and I want to live how I love living, and I could finally be a little bit more open about it. And it's huge. Even in Cleveland, it's changed a lot in the last 15, 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I definitely know because I used to live there about 25 years ago. And back then, we had a really nice community right off of Clifton Boulevard and 117th Street. So I know what it was like back then. I don't know what it's like now, but I do have several people that live up there that I'm still in communication with. So I don't know if you have any questions for Carlita, Nick, or not, but I do want to say thank you. Looks like he's got his lips pursed, so go ahead, Mick.
Oh, I wasn't sure. It just, as long as we have enough time, I'm happy to keep my questions short. But just first I wanted to clarify, and you were saying that there are certain people in your profession who don't believe in you were saying same-sex sessions, and who are quite frankly just kind of guilty of like queer-phobic and transphobic behavior. Obviously, your first and foremost job is your salon and the work that you do. Have you gone out of your way to try and maybe raise awareness about this in your community? Like, do you talk with other professionals like yourself and try to address these issues? And how do you do that?
So I work with the State Board of Cosmetology in Columbus, and I worked for them for 22 years of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care if somebody doesn't like to get massaged by a man. If they're a man, they're going to get massaged by him. If they don't like it, they could leave. And I announced to them that it's extremely important, and I push this to the other reflexologists, massage therapists, hairstylists, everybody. How important, if you're not, or if you are, or if you think you might be, you have to treat every soul the same. It doesn't matter to me, like what something has in their life. It's not, you know what I mean? Everybody's got their own life that they live. What does bother me is people that judge. I don't let them get close to me. I don't let them work in my spa. And I want people to, one of my closest friends, his name was Anthony Vincent Patine Jr. He was such a beautiful soul, and his partner was Bob. And I worked for him when I was 21 for about 9 years, and he opened my eyes to the real world. And I thank him for that, because he was one man that showed me to just walk through life, keep your face straight, and don't keep your head up and don't even think about what other people say about me. So he's taught me a lot through life. He passed away about 5-6 years ago, and I miss him dearly, but I was close to him, and my circle is extremely small. But I was close to him, and it still hurts to this day that he's gone, but he was a boss of mine for about 9 years, and like I said, he really taught me the right way in the life, you know what I mean? To not judge, to love my surroundings, and he's the one who gave me my base to be a great spa owner.
Thank you
Wow.
for that.
Thank you, Carlita, and thank you, Mick, for asking that question. And there is Raj. She's upright now because I keep having to turn my head to the side because is it fancy?
I'm not doing the thing. I don't know what's going on. I'm not doing touching anything. So I don't know if he wants to make
Well,
me
the funny thing is that it's working. It's cute and it's funny and it's hysterical. So first of all, I want to say thank you to Carlita. And I believe she will be back on the show another time because we love beautiful people who care about others as well. And what you're doing at your salon is definitely a good thing. So thank you so much for being on the show tonight. What I do want to do is talk with people about a special offer. So Sabrina the Psychic is not on tonight. She had some technical difficulties, and apparently her nephew couldn't quite fix that yet, unfortunately, but she'll be back next week. You've already seen her, you've already heard her, you already love her. She's beautiful, just like Carlita as well. Both two beautiful women. So what we have decided to do, and Rajee and Mick already know, and so does Carlita, is put together a special promotional offer to all of you at home. You can get a live free 5-minute reading on our show. You'll be one of these little boxes in your little Zoom picture screen. And all you got to do is just email us or contact us. You can go to the website, pull up the information, and if you want to have a free 5-minute reading, you will have one live on the show. So I'm going to set a date. It would be 30 days from today. So I believe that would be July 5th. Well, it's basically 4 weeks from now. So 30 days from today, we will have a drawing. Everyone gets their name in a hat, and you'll see my partner's hand come from the side and grab someone's name out of a hat. Because he's not on camera tonight, but he will be soon. I promise you. I actually do have a partner, and he's quite handsome. I'm the ugly one. He's
beautiful.
He's the pretty one. He's the one who's kissing me in that photo, and I'm he's the little cute white boy. I got a weakness for white boys. So, but anyways, we've been together 10 years, and I love him to death. And we're probably going to be together forever. So if God blesses us that way. But anyways, his hand's going to creep over and grab someone's name out of an actual hat. So, but it's up to you, the viewers, to go ahead and submit your information. And I suggest all of our viewers on Facebook and also on YouTube, as well as, to be honest with you, Rajee, Mick, Carlita, if you want, I'm going to put one of each of your names in there as well. I'm just going to leave my name out of it. I don't need to read it. I already know what's going to happen, but I'll put your names in there just as well, just for good measure. But that's what's going to happen a month from now. And it will be a wonderful thing for that person. We're also going to be helping a local business owner down here. Her name is Sabrina. If you want to go to her studio, you can. It's 152 Southeast 5th Avenue in Delray Beach, Florida. She does voice vibration readings. She also does tarot and crystal ball readings as well. So her email address is psychicsabrina01. That's psychicsabrina01 at gmail.com. Her phone number is 954 487 7008. That's 954 487 7008. You've probably seen her on the show if you watched 2 shows ago. Fabulous person, great energy. She gave us a free reading, both of us, all 3 of us. So there's nothing bad with that. So pretty much that's what's going to happen within the next 30 days. And Rajee's still trying to figure out what to do with her camera, but she'll eventually get there. And you know what? But the best part about it, Rajee, is it doesn't matter if you're sideways or if you're regular, because you're beautiful. It doesn't matter.
Oh, please, gonna get you everywhere.
All right. All joking aside. So, Mick, I don't know if you have any other additional questions for Carlita, but I want to introduce the topics for next week. My questions, and I bring up these topics and I just wait for the co-hosts to chime in if they don't like them. If you don't like them, you can stop me and just tell me to shut up, and I would. So my 2 questions were, big pharmacy, is it helping us or hurting us by so many of us being on man-made chemicals and drugs? That's my question. The other one is mainstream advertising. There's so many commercials that we all see, and you get that little disclaimer at the end that you can't even read or see, and no one is being held accountable for it until years later. So who's going to be held responsible? What can we do to fix it? Because we're in a unique position to be able to talk for other people that are thinking the exact same thing. And I think we might have a Sharpie commercial coming up because Mick has a Sharpie in his hand. What's going on, Mickey?
Oh, nothing. I just have been like kind of having it in hand, like writing notes down and stuff like that. But either of those topics would work for me next week. I think Big Pharma can play into the struggles that we're having with COVID right now. I think marketing is also interesting because it's Pride Month, and this would usually be the time where people would be, I mean, your Oreos would be rainbow, Target would have rainbow advertising. And while it's cool to see a lot of representation like that, what it kind of means on a more insidious level that there are a bunch of corporations capitalizing on the gay rights and LGBTQ liberation movement. But I think we would have to choose one or the other. I think Big Pharma might be a little bit more topical, and we could do marketing maybe the following week after Pride Month is all done, and we can see, oh, what were maybe some of the more memorable ads that came up. How was this Pride Month marketing different because it's been quarantine and obviously everything else that's going on with the anti-police protests that are going on right now. So I think now that I've kind of voiced all of that out, I would be down for Big Pharma. Not that I am down personally for Big Pharma. I'm down to discuss Big Pharma.
I love that idea. Rajee, what do you got to say?
Yeah, no, that sounds great to me. We could do Big Pharma next week, and then the following week. You know, it's interesting. Last year, you really saw, at least I did. I really saw where these big corporations were using the LGBT thing for their, marketing, and it was interesting because, on one hand it was like, oh great, oh I'm upside down again. But anyway, on one hand it was great because it's like, oh wow, more awareness. But then on the other hand, it's like, were we being exploited? So that'll be an interesting topic, and I think it's good. We can talk about it at the end of the month.
Yeah, that sounds good, Rajee. So, do you have anything to say before we go home? And I'm going to start off with you, and you can kick it over to Mick to say goodbye to everyone. And then I'm going to end with Carlita before she says goodbye, and I'll close everything for the night so everyone can go to sleep, just like I'm going to.
Well, I just want to thank everyone for watching and hearing what we have to say. And, definitely leave your comments. Like, if there's questions you have or a topic that you'd like us to talk about, by all means, leave it in the comments. We want to hear from you. And Mickey, take it away.
What Rajee said. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, corrections, or anything, you are more than welcome to comment on our stuff. You can also always, as Joseph said before, you can email us. It's whatever our first name is at mySouthernExposure.site. So mine is Mick, M-I-C-K, at mySouthernExposure, all one word, .site. If you have anything you want to suggest to any of us. And thank you for tuning in. And I'm going to throw it over to Carlita now because I believe it is her turn. And thank you, by the way, for coming on, Carlita.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me. So I just wanted to say I thank everybody for allowing me to come on and speak of my spa. And I'm actually moving right over the bridge where Joe was talking a little bit ago. I'm going to be on Detroit Road in Old Rocky River, one street away from like Lakewood area.
Oh, wow.
So I look forward to being a little bit, more by the water and relaxation a little bit more. And my home life, I have a little place on the water too. So I look forward to spending a little more time over there now that I'm going to be on that side of the town.
Oh, nice. Rocky River is actually where I grew up. So that's funny that you're, yeah.
I just took over the old Rosso Gelato's place.
Oh, really? Wow, nice. So right in Old River. Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah. He moved to Little Italy, and then I'm taking his space.
Oh, wow. Well, congratulations.
Thank you. I hope all of you enjoyed the show. And
Yes.
I loved looking sideways at Rajee. You guys are all wonderful, and I feel good to be on your show this evening.
Thank you.
We're lucky
Thank
to
you.
have you. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Yes, we
Thank
are.
you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Carlita. Thank you so much, Rajee, and thank you so much, Mick. It's the end of the show. The only thing I have to say is make certain to like, subscribe. Actually, the most important part is subscribe and follow. And also, I guess, share. So on my ad, it says, listen, learn, repeat as necessary. So you can look at that and you can forward it to everybody else out there because we all have unique perspectives to share. And the most important part is that we're all here to try to help everyone in these trying times and also look towards something that's going to be positive for all of us. Thank you so much at home. All 3,120 viewers were part of the 120 club. All of us are. So we will see you next week. And I hope and pray we might get to the 4,000 club. So we'll see what's going to happen over the next 7 days. Thank you so much. Have a good night, you guys.
Bye, guys. Thanks, Joseph.
Thank you.
Good night, guys.
Bye.
Bye.